Well, good day. Welcome to another episode of Rob Report. I'm your humble host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Rob Report. Now, we've been really going hard, really pushing hard for the mainstream media to pick up the topic of a black agenda. What we have been getting from politicians is, wait your turn. Wait your turn. It's not your time yet. Wait your turn. Then we get from politicians, when we get people going to politicians say, are you for reparations for Native American blacks? And they say, I'm for Sheila Lee's bill. I'm for the 10, 20, 30, 40 plan. I'm from Clyburn's bill. I'm from your mama's bill. I'm from your daddy's bill. And you're not explaining, you didn't answer my question. Do you support reparations? Specifically in the form of cash payments to the slaves, descendants from this country. Give me a second, okay? I want you to hear something. From Dr. King, Birmingham Letters. I'm going to see if I can pull that up. Just hang in there with me. I'm going to just let you hear the audio. He's going to begin to tell you about white moderates and how white moderates operate. And the sad part is black moderates have adopted the talking points of white moderates in the name of keeping a party in power. And I don't mind a party staying in power if that party does the will of the people who keeps that party in power. Let's listen to Dr. King talk about the white moderates. Give me a second. Just give me a second. My computer is kind of acting slow today.
First, I must confess that over the past few years, I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers the...
Now, he's saying it's not these bad as the Klan is, bad as white supremacy is, bad as the Proud Boys, or whatever you want to put out there as a white racist group. He's saying it's not those people that's holding us back. What's holding us back is the white liberal. Let me keep going.
Negative peace, which is the absence of peace, which is the absence of tension. Peace, which is the absence... Who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension.
They prefer a negative peace, which is the absence of tension. They don't want to deal with true tension. They want to present to us, especially as us as colored people, black people, not colored people. Let me be specific, black. So used to using colored. Then we done bought into that colored thing ever since the 60s. We're not colored people. We're black. This is for black people in general. Now, you may be of another race, and then you can, like I said, if you want to say people of color, that includes whites also, because we all are colored people. There's no such thing as whites and then the rest of everybody else is colored. Stop that. All of us are colored people. If you're going to use that term colored, all of us are colored people, because white is a color too. He's saying the might rod, they don't want to, they want to deal with absent of tension. They don't want to deal with tension. And the subject of a black agenda is tension for them.
Of tension to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says,
Listen to this. Whenever we start talking about doing something for black people in general, and when we definitely go further than that and do something for the descendants of American slaves, this is exactly what we get.
Who constantly says, I agree with you on the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action.
How many times have you heard that before? I agree with what you're doing, but I don't agree with the way you're doing it. I agree with what you're doing, but I don't agree with the way you're doing it. Ain't nobody ask your opinion, bruh. Especially when you have nothing to do with this. Like I said, either you support or get out the way. And I expect you to do the same thing when you start fighting for what's rightfully yours too. Either we're going to support you or we're going to get in the way. Why should we get in the way of you seeking something that's going to progress your people? That's why blacks don't get in the way of what Asians trying to do, or what Italians trying to do, or with Muslims trying to do, or Arabs. Let me stop. Not all Arabs are Muslims. We don't get in the way of that. Matter of fact, we'll see how we can support you. Because we're one of the biggest supporting group of people that you ever met in your life. You can always find us at the forefront, or at least in the back of every major movement that's outside of black, that leads to positivity, that leads to right. Now let me go over that again.
Methods of direct action. Methods of direct action. But I cannot agree with your methods of direct action. Who paternalistically believes he can set the timetable for another man's freedom. Who lives by a mythical concept of time.
So what white society will tell you, well, let's focus on this after I'm elected. Or I don't want to deal with this issue as a political issue because it's too divisive. Or, I think you got to get the whole of all the people that help you get this one thing. We all need this. Bruh, stop. Stop. You can't tell us what we should fight for and what we should not fight for. Who am I to tell you what you should or should not fight for? I don't get in the way of progressives fighting for 15-hour minimum wage and all that kind of stuff. I don't get in the way of that. See, because my issue is a little bit different from that. Yes, those things can benefit us, but it ain't enough to bring us to the point of survival in the next 10 years when it comes to Native Americans having wealth in this country. People will come in and try to reason you into not moving forward with your agenda, with your fight. They've done it to every major agenda. People try to convince people not to go for it because, it's a divisive issue. It shouldn't be. If it's divisive, it's because you don't want to get off your copper and do right by black people.
And who constantly advises the Negro to wait for a more convenient season.
How many times have you heard that? Constantly advising the Negro to wait for another season. Well, we're going to help you with this. We're going to push you on that, but we're going to have to wait till I'm elected, or we're going to have to wait on this reason, wait till so-and-so, or wait till we get the House and Senate, wait till I'm president. Let's wait to get something that's going to benefit all people and all this kind of stuff. Nah, bro, you can't tell us this. Wait for a more convenient season. More convenient for who? You? Are you freaking kidding me? More convenient for you.
Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection.
And that's what's going on. My people have been putting themselves in a position that they'd rather be lukewarm reception than outright rejection. Now, why do I bring this up? Why is it important for me to have Dr. King remind us of who we are? Let me try to put it this way. We as Black Americans, even before we became a robust society of various type of blacks, we always stood in the forefront of making a demand for what's rightfully ours. We came in this country, we came from a country or from a continent where we had wealth, but we couldn't bring that wealth with us because a lot of us was captured and enslaved. There were black natives here in America. They went through the same thing. They got thrown in the slave trade. Now, I talk about this over and over again. You cannot continue to think that this wealthy country can just ignore the fact that you got wealthy off the back of black slaves and not pay your due reward, not pay for the cost of that free labor. That we should let it go. And I use the example again that if somebody ran over and killed, let's say you had a beautiful family, wife and kids, they're coming from a football game, soccer game, and these things happen. Then all of a sudden they get in a car accident, everybody dies, and you as a husband not going to fight for your wife and children? You just going to let them slide with that? You won't demand nothing for that? I don't care how Christian you are. Scripture say, "Oh man, no man to love them," and the scripture also talks about how the Pharaoh let the children of Israel go with substance. Now, you may realize that some people say the real children of Israel was, people Afrocentric heritage. I'm not going to dispute that. You're probably right on that. I can go into the history of that. But the point is, when, you should not be able to think that you can profit tremendously off the back of somebody without giving them their fair share. That's the whole point of the labor movement. We don't want to work for beans. We want to live a sustainable life. Now, what does that have to do with today's topic? Well, today, what Dr. King was talking about is this. Not only have we succumbed to white liberals, but there are black people who have succumbed to white liberal talking points, white liberals' agenda. The title is NBC Universal, Negro, Bootlicking, Coon, Universal. Now, as you've been noticing, we've been talking about the subject of Ice Cube's contract for Black America. It's not enough. It's not robust enough. It need to be more tighter. It need to have more teeth to it. It has a long way to go, but at least he's pushing it. Roland Martin is trying to tell him, you don't need to do it. You should do it this way, not your own way. Trying to tell him that the grassroots movements that you're working with here's the real deal grassroots movement. Black Lives Matter, Black Votes Matters, all these organizations. No, Ice Cube said, nah, I want to strictly work for people who's going to push for a black agenda for descendants of slaves. They can do their thing, and I'll support them in that, but I got something that I'm doing strictly for them. And I'm not going to work with nobody that's tied up to corporate dollars or nobody that's tied up to political interests. I'm going to only work with people from the grassroots that has no motives of getting this thing done. So Ice Cube goes on TV to explain his position, let them know, look, y'all can try to shame me because Trump had an interest in this, but you ain't. That's the whole point of bargaining. That's the whole point of using leverage. Either you gonna push this or Trump gonna push this. And he who pushes it should be able to take claim for trying to help black people. But we can't trust Trump. Well, what make you think we can trust the other guy? And the whole back and forth with Cube and Roland Martin, the guy who got me striped for something, is to let him know that, yo, bro, you ain't going to sit here and try to tell me all these stories. You're not going to sit here and tell me what the CBC says or no. Y'all do your own thing. We need to do whatever we can do to get this done. We need more than one plan. But as long as the basic lines are we're in agreement, then you do you and I do me. He who wins, wins. Now we got a panel discussion of 6 blacks. Something that NBC is known to do. CNN is known to do it too. When they want to mock, shame, shut down any black uprising outside of political parties, outside of corporate agenda, they sent out the Stevens, who runs the black plantation, who runs the white plantation on behalf of the white man, to talk to the subjugators, the blacks, aka the field Negroes. So we got the house Negroes, the uppity house Negroes, want to be used by white media to shame them into line. So here we go. I haven't watched this whole thing, so you're going to get live reactions out of me. Now, I can't show the video because these folks are getting real testy these days. They want to strike you for telling the truth. So give me a moment. Let me look for this video, and we'll go from there. Now, it's usually 1 or 2 people on a panel of about 4 other white people. And when they talk about the subject, they always go to the black person first because they need the black person first to start the crapping on of other blacks, and then they'll follow behind. They cannot lead into crapping on other blacks because for them to do so will let it be known that they're pushing racist propaganda. So, but what they normally do, like in this case, let's have a black show. Let's all go on a black show and we mark this. To my immigrant brothers and sisters, understand we're not hating on you. Always remember this. We, as Native blacks, fought hard for the laws to be changed to invite you to this country. We believe that if anybody should profit off the American dream, it should be other black people from all over the African diaspora. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this country don't owe us, and that we as Native blacks should not fight for what's owed us. Just like if somebody owe you in another country, in the country that you came from, you should get recompense for the things that they've done to you. If they brutalize you, if they ostracize you, if they did what they can to oppress you, you have every right to demand. Now, do you have the energy? Do you want to waste the time to do it? That's up to you. I say go for it. Can't let these people just get away with a car accident killing your family. You can't just let that go. That was your heritage. That was your long-term investment for the future. Now, some of these people on this panel will not understand the plight of the descendants of native blacks. They can only emphasize. Now, they make it understand the plight of their family members going through bigotry, racism, even slavery. But one country and another country is not the same. This is America. This country was designed to be built where all could be welcome. And all wasn't welcome. And those who were here, even they wasn't welcome. The natives wasn't welcome in their own country. They slaughtered them. Once the blacks was free, they figured, if I can't use you for free labor, then you need to go. So they had black holocausts going on all over the United States. Nobody talk about the black holocausts. Nobody talk about the Devil's Punch Bowl. Nobody talks about the multiple Wall Street burnings. Nobody talks about the gathering of black men who fought in the Civil War. And then after the Civil War was over, they decided to take them somewhere and kill them off. Nobody talks about that. You capture them, and instead of letting them go, you take them somewhere and kill them off. So people are standing up saying, look, not only do we want recompense for that, but that's not it. And you trying to worry about what we're going to do with what's rightfully ours? Are you freaking kidding me? That's not the lawyer's job. That's not the defendant job. That's not your job to worry about what I'm going to do with the money that I take out your pocket. That's not your business. The point that you owe it. You can't dictate what I do with what you owe me. Don't worry about it. Mind your business. I'll probably do more than you would ever do. So if I decide to spend it on flauner it, that's my prerogative. You ain't got nothing to do with that. Point is, you owe and you need to pay up. So let's see what this panel has to say about this Ice Cube debacle.
Takeaway, Tiffany, is that he, in that effort to center Black folks at, my takeaway, Tiffany, is that he, in that effort to center Black folks at, in the economy of ideas, he is unfortunately equating the wrongs of both sides of.
This is Jamal Smith. Jamal, who's talking. Jamal Smith is a senior writer for the Rolling Stone. Now, the Rolling Stone has gone far away from a music magazine. It has become one of the major up-and-coming youthful news organizations in the country today. But they full of crap. They be making up all kind of stuff. They be running the Russia BS line and all kind of stuff. All kind of crap. Rolling Stone has become the Breitbart of the Democratic Party. Breitbart is trash. And so is Rolling Stone. But this is Jamil Smith talking about Ice Cube playing for Black America. And they're trying to talk from a black male's voter perspective. Remember I said right now in this election, they're trying to dehumanize the black male and make a superhero out of the black female when both of them are human. One is not better than the other. Don't get me wrong, women are stronger in a whole lot of areas. Men are not strong, and vice versa. And there's some things that we're strong together, and there's some things that we're weak together. That's why we need each other. But they want to try to put a split between the black male and the black female. And if something happened in this election that caused Donald Trump to win, guess who's going to be blamed? The black male, when it's never, ever been the black male. Whoop-de-doo, you get 5% of black males voted for Trump. Black males don't owe you their allegiance. Black males don't owe, and black females do not owe the Democratic Party allegiance, nor the Republican Party, nor these two bigoted leaders that's running for office. I don't owe you no allegiance. If I vote for you, you better count yourself lucky. After what you did to my people, Biden? After what you did to my people, Trump? Consider yourself lucky. Honestly, I'm a doggone fool voting for you. Because I know what you did, but I was giving you another chance. Let's listen to Jamil Smith.
The political equation. He is saying, well, my takeaway, Tiffany, is that he, in that effort to center Black folks at, in the economy of ideas, he is unfortunately equating the wrongs of both sides of the political equation.
And that's an unfortunate situation, brother. So him calling both of you guys out for not doing nothing for Black people is an unfortunate situation. Are you freaking kidding me, bruh? You have not done anything for Black people. You or none of you on that panel can talk about anything concrete that they did just for you. Trump ain't did it. Obama didn't do it. George Bush didn't do it. Heck, even Bill Clinton didn't do it. And he was considered the first Black president playing the saxophone.
He is saying Democrats have done us wrong, Republicans have done us wrong, and thus we need to, essentially divest ourselves of both of them until they earn our votes. Well, essentially, we got less than 20 days until this election. How?
See, what this is fear. Man, there's people been saying that for the longest, Jamil. The longest. And you know this. But you're trying to play team. You're part of the cult. I call it a cult. People that Joe Biden can do anything he wants and people still gonna vote him because they hate Trump. And vice versa. Trump can do anything he wants and people still gonna vote for Trump because they hate Joe Biden and the Democrats. People are cultists. And Ice Cube saying you need to stop showing your allegiance to both of these fools. And it don't matter how many days to the election we got. I say we late to the party. We should have been did this.
Are they going to earn our votes? Well, Joe Biden can't propose legislation right now in order to earn our votes. What is he going to say?
How dumb do this brother think people are? The whole point of running for office is so you can propose legislation. The whole point of running for office. Trump is proposing legislation when he go out in his campaign. He talking about some of the things he gonna do, but even though he's in a position he could do it right now, who says he's gonna be in a position come January? So it's still no different. He could end up being a lame duck. The whole point of you running for office is you give the people your proposal. In order to get a contract done, in order to get a deal done, in order to seal the deal, you have to make a proposal. Every contract, every negotiation session starts out with proposals, bruh, and you know this. So how in the hell can you say Joe Biden can't propose anything? Joe Biden better propose. How in the world you expect people to just vote for you and you're not making any kind of proposals? I'm Joe Biden, just vote for me. I mean, Joe Biden said that in a meeting. I'm Joe Biden, look me over. I'm Joe Biden, look me over, and if you don't like what you see, vote for the other Biden. I'm like, vote for the other Biden? What are you talking about? Now I realize I changed the word from Biden to bigot. I'm Joe Bigot. If look me over. If I'm not a better bigot than the other guy, then just vote for the other bigot. I know y'all don't like me saying this, but it's true. They say numbers don't lie. No, records. Voting records don't lie, bruh. Voting records don't lie.
And I think, frankly, I thought his approach to Ice Cube as Ice Cube described it to me seemed to make sense. He said he agreed with 85% of the plan and said he would address the plan after he's elected, if he's elected. To me, that makes practical sense. He said,
that don't make no practical sense at all. If you agree with 45% of the plan, you stand on that platform and say, I'm with Ice Cube. I agree with 45% of the plan. If you elect me as president, this is what I do. You don't say, if after you elect me for president, this is what I do. That is not a strong negotiation position. You guys, man, here I am, a layman. Not the highest education in the world. As y'all know, I butcher words up. But I do have wisdom. And I think there's something spiritual in me. Wisdom can see through this foolishness. That's why you can't just have brains. You got to have wisdom. All these people on this platform are brainiacs. And they can't see the con game that's been playing on them as black people. They're on a black person's show and all of them black. And they don't see the con game that's been playing.
I'm going to act upon these objectives if I'm president.
So if you're going to act upon these objectives, if you're president, you're supposed to partner with Cube and say, look, Cube got some great ideas, and I'm going to implement this idea, and I'm going to be implementing that idea. I promise that these 3, 4, 5 things, the same thing he should did with Bernie Sanders' platform. That's why a lot of progressives ain't going to vote for Joe. Because these progressives, if you vote for Trump, then you didn't believe in nothing Bernie Sanders was talking about. No, if I vote for you, I don't believe what Bernie Sanders was talking about either, because Bernie Sanders' platform has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders. It has something to do with the vision for America. You're not pushing it. Trump's not pushing it. So why in the world would I want to support somebody that's don't want to push that platform? My vote will go to the person who pushed that platform. He who makes the decision to push it, I'm going to vote for him. That should be your stance as a politician. Making it every means necessary to push some of that agenda so you can get those people to support you. You can't just say, I'm going to blow this off, but I still need you to vote for me. Are you crazy? So, Jamil, brother, you're editor of a major news outlet, or a famous rock and roll piece of history, Rolling Stones, and you pushing this mess. No, bro, let me address you personally. If Joe Biden really agrees with 80%, 90, 50%, 2%, he should say, I agree with 2% of this plan. In my first 100 days, I'm going to push this. As long as I get, that's why I need your vote. Not after you get it, if he possibly get elected. He ain't going to push it. He got what he want. What reason would he have to do to listen to Ice Cube's contract with America? He's going to blow it off like crazy. I'm busy. I got things to do. Let's go to the next one.
That to me says, I'm not going to promise you what I can't deliver.
Right.
Bruh, I'm not going to promise you what I can't deliver. If you agree with it, bruh, see, this the old scale. You can deliver it, bruh. You could deliver these. This is not putting somebody on Mars. These are simple things that you should do for the black people. So you telling me this is too hard for you to do for black people? You're going to let that man have an excuse, Jamil? And you going to back that excuse up? Well, I don't want to make promises I can't keep. Who said he can't keep that promises? He said he agreed with it. The whole game of politics is, this is what I'm going to do for you. If this is something that you want me to implement as your president, I'm going to do my darnest. You don't sit there and say I'm going to. I'm not. I can't. If I can't deliver on something I can't promise, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do it, bro. This ain't like putting somebody in another universe. This is not outer stellar things. We just pull trillions out our behind to pay out big corporations. You can't pull trillions out of your behind for black people. It's not impossible for them, but it's impossible for us. Man, get out of here with this mess. I'll blow you off. If I could put an X mark on your picture, I would.
Terrence, I want to bring you in. First of all, I'm so excited you're on the show with me. I've been wanting to have you on while I'm in a chair for a long time. Your research about black.
Now, this brother is a black researcher. So let's see what he got to say, because I want to know, where did he get his research? Did he call people, or is he out there on the field? Is he out there on the ground, work with the people in the hood, people at the basketball court, people at the barbershop, people shopping in the mall, people at the club, people at church? Or is he just picking up the phone calling random people?
Black men and the Trump administration is mind-blowing. Every time you send out information, I'm just blown away. Tell me why Trump is making inroads with a small fraction of black men. See, like I told you before, they want to post up black men. There's black women that support Trump, too. Heck, Diamond and Silk is one of the biggest loudmouth black women advocate for Trump. Even after Trump fired them, they still hollering about Trump. You got Stacey Dash, big mouth Trump supporter. Candace Owen, big mouth Trump supporter. How many people in the lead that you know that's black men, there's really a big, huge mouthpiece for Donald Trump? I think I know one or two. One's like a brother that looked like the dude from Power. He looked like James Sinclair. You know, I think it's a former police officer. Him, you probably got those two twins, you know, and this other guy, you know, but there's not that many. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to all together shame the black men, fearing they may listen to Q, because Trump talking about adopting one of Q's policies. And Joe Biden saying, I ain't going to think about adopting Jack until you elect me.
Thanks for having me, Tiffany. You know, that's an important point, right? Is that the overwhelming majority of black men are supporting Donald Trump and supporting Democrats up and down the ballot.
The overwhelming, this brother is lying out his nice cut beard. The overwhelming, let me go back to what he said. I don't want to misquote him.
Up and down the ballot. But Donald Trump, the overwhelming majority of black men are supporting Donald Trump and supporting.
The overwhelming majority of black men are supporting Donald Trump. The overwhelming majority of black men are supporting Donald Trump. Honestly speaking, bruh, I don't know what you've been smoking. I don't know whether you smoked it out of your mouth, smoked it out both of your nostrils, out of both ears, in your butt. The overwhelming black majority of males are not voting for Donald Trump. The overwhelming majority is going to still vote for Joe Biden because they've been taught and raised up as Democrats. It's like going to a Baptist church. You've been raised up in that Baptist church since you was knee high. And that Baptist church may not be teaching you anything, may not be feeding your spirit at all, but you're going there because mama went there, granddaddy went there. Ask my family church. Yeah, but you're dying spiritually. Pastor's not raising your spirit up. He's not teaching you anything to uplift you and move you in the direction of what's supposed to be called God's greatness. So majority of black men is going to sit there and vote for Joe Biden. Now, Trump may get a certain percentage of blacks, and even then, you got to figure out who are those black men. What's their culture, where they came from, what's their background, how they was raised up. You got to look at that. For an example, black evangelical men, black businessmen that has a nice amount of money. You got to look at those, Mr. Hit Strategy. Highly insightful targeting. Who are you targeting with these opinions? Because what you just said sound dumb.
Democrats up and down the ballot. But Donald Trump are supporting Joe Biden. But Donald Trump is not.
Okay, now he changed it. He meant most people are supporting Joe Biden. He got it messed up.
Trying to win a majority of black men. He's trying to just kind of chip away at the margins here and put together a new coalition. And I knew during the Super Bowl.
Now, I'm glad that brother said that. He's not just trying to go after black men. He's trying to chip away wherever he can. Folks, that's part of politics. That is not an evil thing that Trump is doing. That is what you're supposed to do when you run for office. You got to find somewhere, somehow, how to chip off voters from your opponent. And the best way to chip off voters for your opponent is offer something that your opponent desperately want to happen in America. That will inspire them and motivate them to get their butt up and go excitingly vote for you. Not drag themselves to vote for the lesser of two evils. They have a reason to go to the polls. Not because they hate Trump or they fear Trump or they hate Biden or fear Biden. No, because they said they're going to do something for them, and that got them up out. I mean, for an example, let me tell you something. If they put legalizing marijuana on the ballot, man, black folks in New York going to be out there all day signing off for that.
In February, when he spent $11 million to have Alice Johnson come on TV after being in jail for 22 years and say, thank you, Donald J. Trump, for releasing me, I knew then that black men were not a marginal part of his strategy. They were his path to victory. And since then, we have seen his campaign.
So, brother, how him releasing a black female out of jail was to target black people, black men. No. Donald Trump did that because he wanted black people to understand that I'm on your, even though I don't believe him, even though I believe this is a political strategy that he's going to turn on us if he get reelected when it comes to criminal justice. Heck, he's telling people that if you mess with one of the monuments, you're going to get at least 10 years. And folks, let me get off that for a second. This is not just Trump going after black men. Trump is going after the black vote. Will he be successful? No. Because black people have grown up Democrat, Joe Biden's still going to get majority of the vote. But black people are waking up that, hold up, wait a minute. This thing got to be bigger than tradition. This thing got to be action. I'm voting for you. What are we getting for it? And that's what Ice Cube is doing. And that's why this panel is up here talking about it.
Go from spending $55,000 on criminal justice Facebook ads before George Floyd's death to spending $6.6 million on criminal justice Facebook ads. And I want to be clear about what those Facebook ads say, because every single one of them is structured the exact same way. Democrats have failed you. Joe Biden has failed you, and that is why your president signed the First Step Act. What he's doing is redefining Democrats to a segment of the black male voters that are cynical towards Democrats, that are frustrated.
See, I told you they're going to try to make this about the black male voters. Bro, there's women in prison right now. There's women who understand this. See, what they trying to say right here is Donald Trump is trying to get black males to turn on the Democratic Party. Women are going to be smart enough not to turn on the Democratic Party because women are the lifeblood of the party, and women is not going to be as smart as men. Because that's the way I see. That's the way I see it, bruh. Women are smarter. Smarter. See, this is a new age. This is not 1980, 1990. This is the internet age. We can go to Open Secret. We can go to the United States Senate Archives, National Archives. We can go look up people's record and find out what they truly believe. Don't tell me what you are in my face. Show me who you are. I'm more interested in you showing me who you are than you telling me who you are. And when I look at your record and find out that you on purpose tried to outdo Republicans when it come to law and order, when it come to criminal justice, that you led the effort, that you led the you wrote the legislation, and that you blame everybody else for it going wrong but yourself. And that policy is still locking up black men disproportionately today. And that major corporations got free labor to $0 labor, to low dollar labor off of that policy. In other words, that policy ushered in the new Jim Crow, and that policy ushered in the private prison system, which is known as 21st century plantations, where corporations can work with those private prison systems to get free to small dollar labor off the prisoner for working for them. Women are seeing that. So don't make this about men, Terrence Woodbury. Anybody know any black people with the last name Woodbury? I don't know that many black people named Woodbury. Don't make this about this Woodbury.
It towards Democrats, and he's really starting to chip away a margin. And what concerns me the most,
he's supposed to. Not that I agree with him, not that I buy into that, because I don't like Trump and I'm not voting for Trump. I don't like Biden. I'm not voting for Biden. I don't vote for bigots. You do you. I'm just telling you, I ain't voting for bigots. But that is what Trump is supposed to do. Trump is supposed to define Democrats, the person running for office is vice president, because she got a bad record too. He's supposed to define them as an enemy to black advancement. But he need to be defined as an enemy of black advancement from the Biden camp. You got to go and tell him that he's wrong, which he's not. But you got to prove that he's far worse than I was when I was a senator. Because you being in power, you being a senator and you pushing legislation like that to damage a certain fragment of this population that bad as a senator, imagine what you can do as president. Because you are just as much as pro on law and order as Trump. I mean, dominant law and order. And Kamala Harris is just as much as dominant law and order as Trump. And the record proved this. So people, don't just take my word. Don't get mad at me because I'm telling the freaking truth. Go look at the record. And I get people telling me, well, this was the drug era, this or that. They had to do that. No, someone went over and above. Extreme. Keeping people in jail past their time. Telling them that the only way they can shave some of the time off if you go fight these forest fires. Locking parents up all because they child didn't show up for work instead of school instead of finding out why. Sending the media and the police officer to these people's house. One lady, her child had sickle cell. And the state had the papers, and her office had the papers from the state, allowing her daughter to have a certain amount of days she couldn't go to school because sickle cell is nothing to play with. So they had the documentation. No, that didn't matter. I'm sending the police down. I'm going to send the news reporters down because I'm going to let the whole city know that if your child ain't going to school, you going to go to jail and your child is going to get thrown into the system. Really? Folks, I don't grab this stuff out the crack of my behind. This is all documentation. And we over here talking about the fool in Louisville, Kentucky that's trying to cover up for the police officers with the Breonna case. Heck, your vice president did the same thing in California, covering up for the police officers. Didn't want to release the evidence. Didn't want it to be known. Didn't want to release the body camera footage. Heck, she didn't even want body cameras on the police officers at one time until it became a political issue. Doing whatever she can to impress Arnold Schwarzenegger and to impress Sherrod Brown.
Because Joe Biden has put together a coalition that I do think can deliver him to victory, even if he gets 75 to 80% of the black male votes. But that will not deliver the Senate. Gary Peters cannot win Michigan with 75% of black men's votes.
Well, you talk about, Terrence, and
well, Gary need to do what Ice Cube is suggesting. Gary need to get with Ice Cube. Gary need to say, I agree with these positions for blacks. And if I can get your vote, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this happen. See, you got to push you got to have the proposal, brother, before you negotiate. You cannot negotiate and you can't get a deal and make things happen until you have a proposal first. The proposal is the starting point of every negotiation and every deal. So if you want to complain about so-and-so can't get 75% of the black vote, so how that's going to help? Well, this brother, look, if you want to get a high number of the black vote, just offer something to black people to make sure they get out and vote for you. Don't assume they're going to vote for you, because a lot of them going to find out that your candidate is crap, just like the other candidate is crap, and they're going to say, nah, I'm good. You on your own. And then you're going to mock them and persecute them for not voting. Oh, I voted. I just didn't vote for them. Again, if you want to secure that vote, don't assume that you got that vote. You do whatever you can up to the last minute to earn that vote. And if that means you have to agree to some of their concessions, that's what you got to do. For you not to do it is asking to lose the election. Whose fault will it be? Nobody but you, because you did not want to make the deal.
In your research, because we have to consider this is down ballot races as well, and your Pitt Strategies found that support among black men when it comes to senators has.
See, this is an independent organization that this brother owned. Hit Strategies, highly insightful targeting. The whole point is to crap on men. Young black men under 50. They're trying to set you up to be the fall guy for if Trump wins. When you look at the numbers, I don't care if 18% of young black men, you got 60% of black men voting for Biden according to his own research. But you're going to get mad at 18% of black men for voting for Trump. And you're definitely going to get mad at the 20% that said, screw both of y'all. You cannot in your life expect to own 100% of the black vote. You can't. You can't expect to get 100% of black men vote. This ain't Obama. Joe Biden is not Obama. Contrary to what you believe, Kamala Harris definitely is not Obama. You got 60% of the vote of black men on your side, and you want to whine and cry and complain and get nervous over 18%. You can never, ever have 100% of vote of no category. Now, if you want to chip away from that 18% of Trump black votes, you got to do something different. I say the best way to get majority of the black vote is do something for black people. Commit to it. Put it in your platform. Don't talk about other people of color. Don't talk about none of that. Talk about black people, black men and women, specifically those who've been here since the foundation of this country. Talk about what you're going to do for them. Talk about what you'll give them in exchange for your vote. In exchange for their vote. So they're going to put here 18% of young black men under 50 support Donald Trump. This could change the outcome of this election. How in the world 18% of the men can change the outcome of the election? Donald Trump did not win because he had some black support. He won because he won the Rust Belt. He won because white men was not ready for Hillary Clinton. White women wasn't ready for Hillary Clinton. In the Rust Belt, they saw their jobs being shipped overseas because of the Clinton administration, because of CAFTA and NAFTA. And now they were pushing TPP. And they didn't want that. Don't you dare blame this on black men, and don't you dare turn our black women against us. Shame on these people trying to make this about black men. What did they do? You got 10, 15, 20% black men voting for Trump. That didn't cause Trump to win. You better look at your record, Mr. Strategic Hit Strategies, and look and find out how Trump really won. It wasn't because some black men voted for him. It was because majority of white women and white men in the Rust Belt voted for him. Heck, more Latinos voted for Trump than blacks. Are you saying anything about them? Heck, a bunch of Haitians voted for Trump because of what the Clintons did to Haiti during that earthquake situation. That ain't Trump's fault. That was the Clintons' fault. Anyway, let me get off this and keep going.
Increased, which I found quite fascinating as well. Ladies, I'm going to bring you in, but I want to start with the men since we're talking about this outreach to black men voters. Let me turn to you, Dr. Johnson.
Oh, Lord God. This guy is Stephen from the Django all day, every day. He even looked like a young Stephen from the Django.
My friend.
I'm surprised he's back on the network because he got kicked off for undermining a Bernie supporter. Telling her she need to go back to the island of misfit women.
You made some really interesting comments with our pal Joy Reid, and you said that you think Donald Trump thinks that black men are stupid. Expand on that, because it does seem like there's a reason why he's going after black men. And I had Bruce Lavelle on.
Look, Donald Trump don't think black men stupid. Donald Trump realized, contrary to what you want to believe, voting is really a transaction. You don't want to believe that. Yeah, it's American duty, American right. But yeah, it is a transaction. You want my vote, so you got to convince me why I should vote for you. I'm not going to vote for you just because you're blue. I'm not going to vote for you because you're you. I need to know what you're going to do for my neighborhood, for my community, what kind of money, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. That's an exchange. You can't even run for office without dollars, without corporate dollars, or without the people giving you money. That's an exchange. People are supporting your campaign because they expect you to do something for them when they get into office. So that's not Donald Trump thinking black men are dumb. Donald Trump is playing the game that Lyndon B. Johnson and all the rest of them play, that if you get me in, I can do something for you. Now, do I believe he's going to do it? No. I don't believe Joe Biden to do most of the stuff he said he's going to do. Heck, a lot of things Obama said he was going to do, he couldn't do because he had opposition after year 3 and 4. But year 1 and 2, he had no opposition, and he could have got all that stuff done then and still didn't do it. Because that's what most politicians do. They say they're going to do these things, and they don't do it. So what you got to do is you got to lock them in. That's why I'm strongly for pushing things like a contract for Black America. That, look, we will give you a vote, but you got to promise to do this. And I want it in the contract. Let's see what Jason Johnson got to say.
This show and asked, what does outreach to black women look like? Is there any outreach? And he got a little tongue-tied. Why the focus on black men from this particular administration? I don't think it's an effort to get them to vote for him as much as it's appearance. But what do you think?
Now, before I go into what he thinks, see, this is what the news media is trying to paint, and even the Democratic Party is going to paint. We are the party of black women. Nobody else is going to cater to our black women. No, let me rephrase that. Your party survives because of black women. If it wasn't for black women in your party, you would not have a leg to stand on. The only reason you win is black women and black men, because we vote not as much, but just as much as black women. In general, black people are your heartbeat. And you're taking care of everybody else's heart, but black people. So they want to make this a referendum against any black that don't follow the trend of black women in the party. So to go against the Democrats is to go against black women. That's what they're trying to paint. And shame on you to go to Donald Trump. That's a spit in the face of black women. This ain't got nothing to do with black women. This got something to do with black people. Trump don't own black people. Biden don't own black people. Even though he think he do. He think he the king of blacks. He'll tell you if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. None of them own you. You have to take your own power. And you have to let both of these parties know that you don't own me. I'm in your camp because I believe some of the things that you're going to, because I keep believing that you're going to do something for us. The time of me keep believing stops. It's time for me to know. So here you go. These are things I want done. If you're not willing to do it, kiss my vote goodbye. Now, right here, most people are not going to do that because they're in fear. They bought into the fear of another 4 years of Trump. They haven't bought into a fear of 4 years of Biden because they don't take the time to really understand Biden's record. I'm not fearing anything, but if I was to fear, I would fear either one of these people winning. I would fear. I would a little bit more fear Joe because Joe is intelligent. Trump is smart, but he's still a little dumb and green in a whole lot of other areas. Legislators speaking, Joe is smart. He's intelligent. Honestly speaking, all these Republicans that's kissing Trump butt, once Trump gone, they're going to be relieved. And they're going to run over to Joe Biden because Joe Biden is their friend. Joe Biden has had decades of relationship with most of these people in the House and Senate. So when you got a unified Democrat House and Senate with the Republican House and Senate, and they're unified behind Joe Biden, sky's the limit, man. Now, whether it's negative or positive, that's the scary part I think about, because it can go negative instead of positive. Because his whole record, all Joe's life up to the point of Obama making him VP, was anti-black.
No, Trump, and you're right, Tiffany, Trump's goal isn't necessarily to get black men to vote for him. Trump's goal is to play into the cynicism that black men legitimately have towards this country, right? Because we've been mistreated by almost every single group of people in this country. We've been let down by the government. His goal is, if I can't get your vote, I want you to be cynical enough that you don't vote at all. And I'm going to make sure that happens by, making it harder to vote around the country, not doing anything about COVID, which is killing black men at a rate higher than we died, during the Middle Passage. And then on top of
Really, Jason Johnson? Black men are dying? More black men are dying than the Middle Passage? Really, Jason Johnson? Really? We were jumping out of boats because we refused to be slaves. We were catching all kind of diseases in those boats, infecting other black men that we died in record numbers, and they had to throw us off the boat. Most of these slave trade owners could not even really make the money they wanted to make because the unsanitary conditions that they had us through. And you trying to say that COVID is killing all black men worse than the Middle Passage? Man, these folks killed me with their descriptions to horrify, to paint this picture of a horror show in your mind to get you to go one way. He's saying Trump's job is trying to get people not to vote. No, bruh. That may be the Republicans' proposition, but that ain't Trump's proposition. Trump want people to vote for him because it makes him feel good knowing that people voted for him than people didn't vote for him. Trump may be, I'm going to give Trump the benefit of doubt because Trump is a attention whore. He's one of the biggest attention whores around. He loves it when people supports him. So he's not trying to get people not to support him. He's trying to get people to support him. Now, the Republicans may try to stifle the votes and make it hard for people to vote because that's what they do. No different from Democrats cheating in their own party. Stabbing the people who did vote in the back by pushing somebody else that they didn't want. But I'm going to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. Trump is a media whore. Trump is trying to get every vote he can because he'd rather say, I have this amount of people vote for me than I had this amount of people not vote for me.
Of that, using these sort of false equivalencies to say that Joe Biden is just as bad as Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who in the 1970s was discriminating.
Bro, now I'm about to slice you up like Zorro, bro. Go ahead. Let's see what you got to say.
1970s was discriminating against people is just as bad as Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who in the 1970s was discriminating against people.
Joe Biden, who in the 1970s was following segregationists, trying to push segregationist busing policies, didn't even want to mix blacks with whites.
Donald Trump, who in the 1980s was saying the exonerated five should be executed. Donald Trump.
Yeah, but Joe Biden in the 1990s, who was claiming that he was fighting for civil rights and he wasn't. Joe Biden's single piece of policy on the crime bill. Joe Biden in his strong effort for the drug war that allowed police to crack the heads of black people, innocent black people, for nothing. So you're right about Trump, but I'm right about Joe.
Trump, who has called on white nationalists to keep.
See, why won't he talk about Joe and his horrible mess?
Black people from voting. Donald Trump, whose Justice Department.
Donald Trump, who called on white nationalists to keep black people from voting. Stand by or stand back. I want y'all at the polls watching. We should be at the polls too. We should have black people at the polls making sure white people don't mess with them. So don't try to, bro, this thing is a balancing act. You can't put all the weight on Trump and not put no weight on Joe either.
Hasn't done anything about George Floyd, hasn't done anything about Breonna Taylor, hasn't done anything about Sandra Bland.
Well, Barack Obama didn't do anything. Joe Biden, vice was the VP, had Eric Holder, a black man, as Attorney General, had Loretta Lynch as Attorney General, didn't do nothing about the situation with Trayvon Martin, did nothing about the situation with Eric Gardner. Bruh, stop. You can't make this a one-sided balance, dude. This thing is balanced as they come. Balance as they come. If not, a little tip of the balance on Joe Biden's end. Both of them horrible. I hate that people got to be put in this situation that the powers that be have conned you into the corner of voting for one of these two bigots. I hate that. I hate it with a passion. But some people feel they got to vote for them. And I get it. I was part of that lesser of the two evil crowd. Then I realized the reason we got Trump is we've been voting the lesser of the two evil for a long time. And if we keep going that way, we're going to get somebody 10 times worse than Trump.
So for Donald Trump to reach out to Ice Cube or Steve Harvey or Jim Brown or anybody else like that and say, I'm the better option, he must think we're stupid.
So what you want? Is it better for Joe Biden to reach out to Ice Cube and all these other people? Joe Biden got his list of celebrities that support and endorse him. And I believe most of them don't even know about Joe Biden's record. Ice Cube just told you, I'm not with them. My plan is available for both. I'm willing to work with both. The hell with you to think that I can't push the other person to support our policies. If Malcolm X can do it, if Dr. King can do it, well, Malcolm X wasn't doing it. Malcolm X was like, screw both of them. None of them's for you. You got to start your own party. But if Dr. King could do it with Lyndon Baines Johnson, another bigot, what make you think that Ice Cube shouldn't work? Now, you don't go in there trusting them. That's why you got to have leverage over them. That's the only way you're going to get a bigot to push your policy is political leverage. And black people, you got so much leverage you don't even recognize. You can tell Joe Biden either you're going to do these things or you can kiss my vote goodbye. Because the only thing they could do is, but you're going to get that horrible Trump and Trump going to kill all of y'all. Like you might, I suppose assume that you ain't going to kill me either? You got to go to the most worst part of a president? Genocide? Bro, your one policy caused genocide. You supporting the Iraq war was genocide on the Iraqi people. Get out of here with this stuff, man. You can't try to tip the balance on this, Jason. You're a Democratic suck up and you shows it. You'll show it. NBC all day.
He must think we're not paying attention to what the man has actually done. And I want to say this really quick, Tiffany, because I think it's important.
I know exactly what Trump has done. I live in New York. I talk to the people who've been through Trump bigotry, Trump family bigotry. I know. One thing I could do, I could honestly say, if there's some dead bodies that Trump had, Trump committed genocide in New York, I don't know about it. It's not evidence. But you can't equate Trump with Joe Biden. I mean, you can't try to differentiate. You can't do it, bruh. I don't care how much you try. You can't do it. The only thing I could have hopes for is because he worked with Obama, Joe Biden had a change. But that's something I have to believe for. I can't assume it. Because his records speak louder than him running for office right now.
I understand the cynicism. I understand the frustration. But what we also can't do as entertainers in the black community is come up with a plan in the 11th hour of a campaign and put marshmallows and chocolate and graham crackers together and think we created s'mores. No, you didn't. There are tons of plans out there that Ice Cube could have tackled onto beforehand, and that's one of the issues here as well.
I mean,
all right, so let me stop this. Coon party suck up, playing for my team who ain't did nothing for you but make your pockets available higher. But, they paying him to keep you on the plantation. Cube did not come out with this as a final hour thing. Cube saw, just like a lot of us saw, way back in 2010, that we keep putting you in power and you keep neglecting us. Are you freaking kidding me? Blacks went out and voted for Obama in over 95%. And the first thing he do is pass the Lilly Ledbetter Act. He didn't pass prison reform. It was the Lilly Ledbetter Act. Now, look, prison reform is not a black policy. I don't know why people think that. But he pulled a policy for equal pay for women, which is great. But white women and women in general did not come out for you in high numbers. It was black men and women that put you over the top. 2004, 2012 come. Look here, look, you got to put me in office one more time. And I got you, black people. I got you. I got your brother. Look, me, Sasha Malia, we're your family. We got you. Nothing. Hillary Clinton, nothing. So you don't think they have a right to be cynical that the Democratic Party is not going to do something? We already know the Republican Party ain't going to do nothing. But we do realize that if we can pull leverage on top of both parties, we can force you to do something because you need that vote. And you scared that you're going to, that you got to work for it. And you sit up here telling people that you shouldn't make people work for that vote. You slime ball headed. I get it. You're scared. You don't want another 4 years of Trump. But you don't know what a 4-year of Biden administration would do. You only assume it. It's just like the people who voted for Trump. They assumed that Trump was going to be a great president. And you find out in 4 years he wasn't. You're assuming just because Biden is in office, now he's going to be a great president. You better go back and look at what he did in the past because it will determine the future, bruh, if you haven't repented for your past. And Joe Biden has shown that he's not repented for his past work. He's doubled down on it. So for you to mock Ice Cube and his effort to get something done for black people, you're trying to make this a Democratic thing. We Democrats got to win when Ice Cube is trying to make this black people need to start winning. He's putting you in a position that you can get, if you want to win and continue to win, you need to start doing something for us. You act like that's a shame. That's wrong. That should never happen. Then you ain't black, brother.
think that's the frustrating part, right? Because the Congressional Black Caucus has a very comprehensive plan. Our friend Alicia
that plan is crap. It ain't going nowhere. It's not about a plan. It's about an agenda. The point of the black agenda is to let both parties know that, look, you don't get our support until you start doing something for black people concrete. You pushing that same crap that Roland Martin talked about what the CBC plan is. And we're going to go over that plan. But the point is, it's not about that. You can still do your CBC plan. What we need to know is you need to commit to these things as president, or you're not getting our vote. That is never a bad thing. That's a good thing. It's negotiation. Ice Cube going to Trump's camp is part of getting the Democrats to shake the Democrats up. All this stuff, you guys getting all riled up over this stuff is by design. It's supposed to shake you up. But you are standing on the side of the white liberals that Dr. King talked about. Not right now. Later.
Garza, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, has a very comprehensive plan. So the huge...
Her plan is crap. Her plans involve white dollars and political influence. We're not talking about that. If her plan, she admitted her plan wasn't going nowhere. Good as it is, it's not going nowhere. You want to know why? Because we see who hand is in your pockets. We want something from the grassroots, from the people from the ground up, a real grassroots plan. And Ice Cube has committed himself to that. Now, look, I'm cynical of everybody, so don't think I'm 100% riding Ice Cube jock, but I see where he's going with this, and he's leaving this thing open to be utilized in bigger ways. He's opened it to add more stuff to it, and he's welcomed other organizations to work with that plan. But he do have a restrictor on it. You can't be an organization that is influenced by political parties and white corporate dollars, let alone black corporate dollars.
Hubris that Ice Cube, am going to come in and save the day for Black America. And he, quite frankly, looked a little out of his league when Roland Martin was pressing him on some of these issues. And I encourage...
No. Roland looked out of his league because he thought he was going to defer and shake him off his horse. Ice Cube is that Negro on that nag, and all you can do is get upset and get frustrated. So no, you didn't shake Ice Cube a little bit, and he didn't look out of his league.
I urge everybody to watch that interview with Roland Martin. Right. It was great. Midwin, let me turn to you. Was this a misstep on the Biden campaign's behalf? Because their outreach is not as public. Their outreach is not as visible as Donald Trump is, and now they're stuck in this scramble to try to make inroads with a community perhaps they maybe ignored.
It could be. I mean, if you look at over the past years in the last two presidential elections, the number of black men who have been voting Republican has increased just slightly, right? From, Mitt Romney, McCain, and now Trump in 2016. But I also want to point out that as much as people talk about, Donald Trump siphoning off votes with black men are still the number one male group to have voted against Donald Trump in 2016.
Right. Exactly.
More than Latinos, more than Asians, and more than other groups.
Facts, sister, but go on further than that. Not just 2016, but 2012, 2008, and go as far back to the sun as you can, sister.
However, the Biden campaign should always be trying to get the vote of black men. And listen, I know that a lot of people criticize Ice Cube. I have as well. But I welcome anyone who wants to take a seat at the table and start talking about these issues that the African-American community is facing and how we can address them, particularly when you have such a huge platform such as Ice Cube. However, it's important to make sure that you understand how government works.
Right.
For example, a lot of the things in Ice Cube's plan have already been done by the Democratic House, voted on, and are sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk right now and haven't been voted on by a Republican-controlled majority in the Senate.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Now, let me bring myself back up here. Now, look here. You can't The CBC should have had something in office a long time ago. Why do you wait till now? Why do you wait till this election and say, I got something for black people, but in order for me to pass it, we got to get the majority again? You didn't have that same policy when Obama had the full power in 2008, 9, and 10? You didn't have that? You couldn't pass it then? Get out of here with this stuff. They trying to say all this stuff to try to bait you in to say, we got policies that's going to help black people come up. When you look into the policies, and we're going to take a look at those policies before the week is over with, and we're going to see what it entails and who it includes. Because to say you got it and not tell me in detail what it is and how it works could be the very reason why you haven't gotten it approved in the first place. Well, we can't get it approved until we remove those people out of the House and Senate. Look, I never told you don't go vote. And for you people on the panel who sit there and say that this is a thing to get people not to vote for nobody, no, we didn't say that. Nobody's saying that not to vote. It may be that I'm not voting for you, but it don't mean I ain't voting. There's other people on the ballot. There's other things on the ballot. There's ballot initiatives. There's propositions on the ballot. One of the things I want to see on the ballot is ranked choice voting. I want to support that. Marijuana legislation. I want to vote for that in so we can get some of these brothers out of jail. There's a whole lot of other things on the ballot too. But what they're trying to tell you is we're trying to get these things passed in the Senate. When did they come up with this plan? I guarantee you they came up with this, and I'm going to look at the marketing today. The moment black people started to detach themselves from the parties and saying, look, no black agenda, no vote. No reparations, no vote. You better get serious. This is what I want to happen in my community, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If you're not going to do that, then I guarantee you once that started to grow, and it has grown a whole lot, that's when they started to come up with these legislation, because they got to find a way to get you on a fish hook so they can reel you in. And I get it. You got to do whatever you can to keep people in your house, or as some people say, plantation, whether it's Republican or Democrat. To me, both of them are plantations. Both of them using controlled tactics. Both of them using black people to try to keep you not to challenge authority, not to challenge their direction. Both of them doing that. That's why I stand as a proud independent and let you know you can't depend on me for nothing. You want my vote, you got to come earn it. And hopefully people will wake up and realize that should always be your position, even if you're in a party. Just because you're Democrat don't mean you can get this. What kind of Democrat are you? Are you FDR Democrat? What kind of Democrat are you? Are you unapologetically black Democrat? So, folks, that's my take on this. As usual, when there's an uprising on the plantation to revolt against the masters, is always some bootlicked Uncle Tom house Negro to come try to tell you you're out of line. It is his job to stop it in the field before it get to the master house. Why? Because if he don't, he's going to be punished. And you see this all day. When these people don't do their job of keeping you in a certain position, they'll fire them in a minute. Ask Tamron Hall, Melissa House Perry, you name it. That's what they do. Don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. Look, like I said, you got a right to vote for whoever you want. See, I'm in a blue state. It's going to go for Biden anyway. It's a little easy for me to tell both of them kiss my behind. Now, if I was back in my home state, Florida, it'll be a little tougher. It'll be tougher. But I will always marinate myself with the person record. And that will determine, number one, I'm not voting for Trump, but that would determine whether I vote for Joe Biden. My thing is, I'm voting for black empowerment. And if you don't have things in your policies today that's going to empower the black community, period, exclusive policies that's going to empower black people, then you don't deserve the black vote. This vote should not be free. This vote should be deserving. It should be earned. The respect, the honor of the black vote should be held precious, valuable, and high esteem. You should not think you could just assume that you're going to get it because you're a Democrat. No, you got to work for it. because we're valuable. We're precious. We're the only reason why you stay in existence, Democratic Party. We are the one who keeping the Republicans from taking the House and Senate. And oftentimes, that's not enough because the Latino community is growing and a lot of them going to the Republicans. Y'all not saying nothing about them. You always want to blame blacks and you always want to blame the black male for you losing. And it's not our fault. You can't have 100% of anything. You don't own anybody. And stop thinking you do. If you want that vote, you got to earn it. And you got to be willing to earn it. And you got to be willing to give up to go up. You got to be willing to negotiate to get that person vote. If you don't do it, it's not the voter's fault, it's your fault. Now ask yourself why these other people deciding to vote for Trump instead of the Democratic Party. Don't look at blacks, look at the white male, look at the white female, look at some of the Latinos, and look at some of the other communities of color. That's going to be where you lose. So these black people on the panel pointing the finger at black men and afraid that, and go put something up there talking about we could swing the election. We ain't swinging no election. Get out of here. Most of us don't even live in the Midwest. Like I told you, winning the United States election is a game of chess. It ain't about popularity. You have all the popularity you want. He who wins the most states in the right states win the election. I'm Robert Brown with the Robert Report. I'll let you later. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you don't see this video, you can go to our Twitch channel at Bob TV NYC. You can go to our Facebook channel at Bob TV NYC. You can go to our BitChute, and soon I'm going to be on Rockfin. I'll let you later. Peace.